Hi, I'm Greta and I've worked with over 10,000 influencers across my e-commerce brands, and today I'm going to go through some of the top red flags that you want to look out for when you're looking to work with influencers. So the first thing that I would be looking at is how many partnerships they're participating in. You don't want to be working with influencers who are not discerning with their partnerships. So you want them to be able to partner with fewer brands, but more consistently. Brands are generally informed through, conversions and sales. So the influencers that are working better for them, they're going to re-collaborate with on a more consistent basis. And the other reason that you don't want, kind of like low brand loyalty, followers are, increasingly educated with online marketing, and they will see straight through influencers that are working with, one juice company 1 week and a new juice company the week after, and just rinsing and repeating that sort of process. So you want people that have longer, more consistent partnerships, and the fewer partnerships, the better. So the second tip is avoiding influencers that are too controversial. So that might be overtly, political content, it might be overtly sexual content. It depends on where your brand kind of draws your boundaries. It's just going to be a distraction from the overall message, and also can create kind of bad goodwill for your brand. We want to be avoiding these people that are just constantly controversial, because they could be damaging to your brand reputation or image. Number 3 is one of the most common, which is fake followers and engagement. And while fake followers are kind of harder and harder to determine because of fake engagement, there are ways to look into, like an influencer's account health. There's a tool called Social Blade where you can see how an influencer is growing over time, and whether that's quite like consistent daily growth. Like they might be growing 200 followers a day. That's great. You want more consistent growth in this way. If there's suddenly a day where they grew by like 20,000 followers, and usually they grow by 200, they may have bought 20,000 followers. When it comes to fake engagement, it's a little harder to determine at times, but so for fake followers, you want consistency, and for fake engagement, you want to avoid consistency. So if they're consistently getting like exactly, 1,100 likes or something, they might be buying 1,000 of those likes. Or if they're consistently getting around 100 comments, give or take 10, so between like 90 to 110 comments, that could mean that either they're a part of an engagement pod or they're buying fake comments as well. Another way to be able to obviously tell with fake comments is like the account type. So if it's somebody that has like no followers or posts, it's a pretty, big red flag again. It's pretty obvious to be able to see whether that they're fake or real accounts engaging. But an engagement pod is like a whole nother thing. A lot of people say to avoid people in engagement pods, and I kind of understand that to an extent, but I guess if it's helping their reach at the same time, and that post could get more reach, or if there are other influencers in that pod as well that then could want to collaborate with your brand, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You just want to make sure that they're also getting organic engagement outside of that sort of more staged engagement. So number 4 is a really fast, simple one. So it's if they don't post very often. It's just important that they post often enough to keep up their account growth and maintain that sort of consistency with their followers. And that's just because trust is basically built over time, and it's built through repetition. So you want to be front of mind for your followers on, a daily or weekly sort of basis. So coming in at number 5, we have low audience engagement. And what I mean by this is that relationships need to be a two-way street. There needs to be two-way interaction, not just you posting and then not ever responding or nurturing that relationship. And relationship is one of the most important factors when it comes to whether an influencer is going to be influential or not with their audience. People are more likely to buy from somebody that they like, and more likely to buy from somebody that they trust, and it takes time to build that relationship. And relationships are very, very infrequently built by kind of like a one-way street of communication. So making sure that that influencer engages with their audience, they might do lives or Q&As to kind of nurture that relationship. So kind of giving back to their audience. So number 6 is that their audience isn't relevant to your target market. A lot of people trip up in influencer marketing is they think that an influencer is their audience. Like you think that you see a 25-year-old female girl from Australia, and therefore she will have 25-year-old female followers from Australia, where that is absolutely sometimes not the case. Depending on her like content style, her content could be tailored a lot more toward like a male audience, for example. So she might actually have, you know, 35-year-old males from the US that are her like core following. And if you're selling a makeup product, 35-year-old men from the US probably aren't going to be so interested in your makeup product. Basically, just making sure that there's good or strong audience affinity to the influencer. So a way that you can do that is asking the influencer for some of their insight screenshots. Lastly, number 7, and it's quite similar to number 6, is that their content doesn't align with your brand. There's probably 2 kind of core content styles, which are like that sort of like super aesthetic, sort of polished content style. And then there's that sort of more like raw, real, relevant, relatable content style as well. And that's often like a lot less polished or aesthetic. Some brands are very specific about only working with influencers that share their same sort of content style, whereas I would always recommend like at least testing a 50-50 split of both. Like you may want that aesthetic imagery to reshare to your social channels. You might want more of that raw, real, relevant, relatable content because it's more conversions orientated. So having a bit of a mix or breakdown of both and not necessarily pigeonholing yourself into like one content style or the other. So those are some of the red flags that we look out for when we're working with an influencer, but I'd love to hear some of the red flags that you guys look out for as well. So let me know in the comments and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey guys, hope you're loving our videos and that you're getting heaps of value from them. If you are, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to join the Foundr fam. If you did enjoy this video and want to continue to master your skills, make sure you click here to access your free training now, where we'll go into way more depth with this founder.